Hey everyone, welcome to episode 15 of my Baldur's Gate 3 report cards. Today we're going to cover Flaming Sphere and Enthrall. After the video, you can vote on what tier you think the spell should be in the polls in the description. Let's get started today with Flaming Sphere. Flaming Sphere. Summon a Flaming Sphere that deals 2d6 fire damage to nearby enemies and objects. It also sheds bright light in a 20-foot radius and dim light for an additional 20 feet. You can move the sphere, and you can remain hidden while casting this spell. This costs your action, spell slot, and your concentration, and it only lasts for 10 turns. This has a dex save associated with both the aura and the ram, and you can cast it within 60 feet. The AoE of the sphere is 7 feet. For upcasting, you deal an additional 1d6 fire damage. The sphere itself has 20 hit points, 16 AC, and it has 10 in each ability score. When the sphere is ablaze, which you can toggle on and off, it leaves behind a fire surface and deals 2d6 fire damage to nearby creatures and objects at the end of their turn. You can ram as a bonus action, but this only gets a bonus action, and this does 2d6 fire damage as well. On a successful save, they take half damage. This is learned by druids, wizards, light domain clerics, arcane tricksters, and eldritch knights. Flaming Sphere is the second level 2 summoning spell that we have, and it's a step down from Spiritual Weapon, but it does have some things going for it. For one, it is quite tanky, especially in the early game. 20 HP is the same as Spiritual Weapon, but it has 16 AC as well, and it also has many resistances and immunities. So this summon is very tough to take down, and if you can get enemies to attack it, they are going to waste multiple turns. The damage, on the other hand, leaves a bit to be desired. 2d6 fire is quite low. It's 7 on average, and the aura procs on the end of the enemy's turn, so they'll often be able to path to avoid it. There's also a bug with the spell that makes it use your wisdom modifier even if you're a wizard. This cuts the damage down even further. But along with just dealing damage, the orb will also leave behind a path of fire as it rolls around. This will damage enemies that touch it and do everything that fire does. It's going to burn down vines, damage nearby objects, it'll burn grease and webs, and it's just going to add some chaos to the battlefield. Along with the fire hazard being placed on the battlefield, the orb itself can also act as a roadblock for enemies. It's fairly large, and you can use it to stuff up doorways, enforce suboptimal movement, and just take up space on the battlefield. With all these facets of the summon in mind, the way you use this thing optimally in most cases is to use it as kind of a distraction. The ram damage is low, but if enemies are focusing on the sphere, they might take the aura damage, and they might take damage from the fire surface it leaves behind, and they'll waste their attacks on it. Some tips to get this to work in practice. First, I would say stuff enemy movement by spreading fire and using your sphere's size. The enemy AI are going to do their best to avoid the fire and might choose to target differently to avoid walking in it. Keep your ranged characters at range. The enemy marshals normally might dash at your backline, but if they can't reach them in one turn, even with dashing, they might target the sphere instead. Keeping your sphere near your martial characters might also force enemies who want to hit your martial to be within the sphere's AoE damage. But now that we've kind of gone over how to use the summon, and I quite like the summon, let's get into the big issue with the spell. I don't like this spell because it's concentration and an action cost. This is incredibly high, and it undermines the tankiness. Concentrating on a spell makes enemies more likely to target you, so it's harder to make them hit the sphere, and you could lose it prematurely by breaking concentration. An action cost is also annoying for a 10-turn summon. Spiritual Weapon is a bonus action without concentration, and class abilities, like for a Spores Druid, are reactions. Flaming Sphere being both an action and concentration is just ridiculous and makes the spell often suboptimal. Let's get into the grades now, and they're fairly mixed, but they are going to be leaning mid to low. I have a B for base level early game. The damage is meaningful, and the tankiness is insane, honestly. It's very high. The summon is great early game, but there are still the issues with the spell itself. It doesn't fall off as hard as other damaging spells because even in the late game, 20 HP, 16 AC, and tons of resistances is a workable defensive profile. That will still take multiple hits to go down, and the non-numerical uses of spreading fire and using the size of the orb don't really fall off. Upcasting is an F. Gaining more damage is fine, but you really want to be gaining more HP, and the sphere does not get any more HP as you upcast. The middle section is pretty rough. I have mostly Cs. There's a B in there for uniqueness. I think the summon is really nice. Again, it's quite tanky, and spreading fire is useful and unique, which goes also into the C for specificity. Many arenas will exist where you can burn away hazards, and Flaming Sphere is great for that. Price, though, has got to be an F. We went over it. Concentration and inaction, it's just too damn high. It makes it too difficult to cast this spell. Class Synergy is also going to be getting a D, because wizards have that terrible wisdom interaction, and druids have such good level 2 concentration spells that it's hard to cast this one. Overall, I think Flaming Sphere is probably mid-C tier. I like the summon quite a bit. The spell is just tough to cast as an action and concentration, and being bugged for wizards. I suspect you all might rate this even lower, based on the reaction to Spiritual Weapon. I think these slow, temporary summons might not be very popular. Let's move on now to Enthrall. Enthrall. Reduce a creature's peripheral vision and make it look at you. This costs your action and your spell slot, and it is a wisdom save to resist. There's a 20-foot range on the spell with no upcasting benefit. This is learned by bards and warlocks. Enthrall's only actual effect is that it greatly reduces the enemy's vision and forces them to look at the caster. The main use for this is for thievery. You can pickpocket an NPC hit by Enthrall, and there won't be any repercussions, and it's very easy to set up. You can cast Enthrall and then pickpocket with another character, or you can pickpocket them and then cast Enthrall with another character. You're also able to steal off the ground. You need to steal the object, and then you need to cast Enthrall after the NPC notices that it's gone. The spell is unfortunately near useless in combat. Reducing peripheral vision can make hiding easier, but that's it. That's really it. There's almost nothing you can do. So the question about this spell and how you would rate it is, how much do you value stealing? And is this your preferred method to do it? There are many ways to steal in Baldur's Gate 3, and this is just another one. I personally don't value stealing highly at all, and I like to limit my long rests a bit, so I think this spell sucks. If you disagree, and you steal and long rest often, this spell is for you, and you could probably get some good use out of it. But for me, this spell is really poor. And getting into the grades, this is a little awkward. This is the first time I'm giving Fs all around in the main categories. I gave Barkskin and Phantasmal Force a single D grade, but Enthrall won't get away with it. There's just no use in combat, no reasonable use, and outside of combat, the thing it provides for you, I don't value highly at all. And it's not the only way to do it. I have given it a B in the other category, just to have somewhere that I'm giving it credit for the ability to steal. But man, I really don't like this spell. I'm going to be putting it in F tier. Let's jump over now to put these spells into the tier list. Enthrall is going to be easy for me, and I'm actually going to be putting this last. I think this spell is below Barkskin, Phantasmal Force, Ray of Enfeeblement. I think it's down there. Flaming Sphere, it's going to be low C. Yeah. It's going to be low C. It's below Prayer of Healing for me, but above Calm Emotions. Again, I like the summon, but I don't like the spell, and I find myself casting Shatter, Enlarge, and Prayer of Healing more than I would cast Flaming Sphere, so that's why it's going to be below them. But yeah, that's all I've got for today. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comments, and have a good one.